Frank? Okay. And we have meeting minutes in the regular meeting November 17th.
I read them and they look accurate. I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Okay. John?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Mark? Yes. And that's for the... All right, now we have the special meeting, November 17th. That was for the executive session and reviews.
For the employee reviews, yeah. Same comment there. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. John? Yes. EJ?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Schedule reports. Frank Kimco, Auburn Township Zone.
As you know, I have a copy of activity for November. We processed 5 applications for 5 permits. We have 2 new houses, bringing us to 18 for the year so far. And we did have one pretty good-sized commercial project up on Queen's Way, and it actually involves the vacation of a lot. How that works, you know, this company has 2 lots, but they want to make it one. They have to go through the vacation process, which means they have to advertise it in the paper. Consolidate the 2 lots. There's a building up there. Actually, there's 2. That's a 2-phase project. One on the back side and then one on the front side where the lots are consolidated. Spent quite a bit of time. Ann Downing is the architect involved in that project. It's been very forthcoming as far as having drawings and everything, but it's taken probably 3 months to get it through the process, especially on the consolidation of the lots. So that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Frank? Okay. And Emma Gordon went to the hospital today, and do you have any?
Well, yeah, so far we've done 14 rounds of plowing. We've gone through a fair amount of salt. So we'd like to bring in about 300-400 more tons. We have about that much space. And so we wouldn't have to stack it. So that would be starting to use this year's allocation. Which we can do up to 23. The other thing we had, we need to get a couple tires for Ryan's truck. Have a requisition in here. The tires are 10 years old and 5,000 miles on them, so they're pretty much rotted.
You're going to replace the whole set?
Yeah. They're tired. We also had to take Mark's truck in, and we had to actually tow it. The rear springs finally gave out. We got 8 years on those. So I was very pleased with that. We were running, sometimes back in the old days, we were doing 2 sets of springs a year.
We were. Remember that.
So they've been doing a very good job, you know, not overloading. And even the guys, we took it down to EAB in the valley. And it was interesting. I think Fred had to quick get some information to him because we hadn't been there in 3 or 4 years. And so we actually, the truck's back. We had to get it, there's a couple of brackets that were broken, and it really was a little dangerous to drive it. And so we actually had to have it towed pretty much back on track there. I think that I was very pleased with how our roads ended up looking in that little snowfall we had on Thanksgiving. And, we burned off ahead of some of our neighbors. So.
Yeah, I was coming back from Streetsboro and I hit, right when I hit the Manaway, it was like a full-blown way out there. I don't know how many inches fell in a really short period of time.
Yeah, 4 at least, yeah. Depends where you were, but it was very wet and heavy. But did well. I'm very proud of him. So, other than that, the other trucks are running pretty well right now. You never know. It's just a time when things break. So,
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on your report? Or?
well, that'll probably do both of us.
Okay. PJ?
Just a couple things. One is, as we were talking about the last meeting, and if you're new or haven't been in the township meeting or building for a while, you notice the new flag collection box out in front. Eagle Scout project, and culmination of that was to do the ceremony where you incinerate the flag after reading through the original 13 colonies, and you state the purpose of the retirement of the flag and why it's being retired, and just kind of a standard.
They did the full recommended procedure. They cut the blue area out, cut each of the individual stripes. It was
what each stripe represents, and really
they did a really nice job.
great job on the ceremony. We just went
It's really nice ceremony. My son's done the abbreviated ceremony in Cub Scouts, so we had him there. It was really neat for him to see them.
He brought a flag too.
To do the whole extended ceremony.
Yeah. Kids did a great job. Very organized. 45 minutes and start to finish, but didn't miss a beat. And we already had 13 flags in this box. Yeah.
No mail?
So there's no mail that they found. So it's a great idea that's going to serve its purpose, and our Eagle Scouts come through again. The other thing is you saw an estimate from Auburn Fence for broken posts at Shady Side. That is, we're following up. We made a call to El Parma. There was an accident that not only took out some fence up there on the northeast corner of the cemetery, it also took out an Eagle Scout project, the bench there where we do our Memorial Day thing. So we contacted the kid that was his Eagle Scout project, Ben Blazek, and he's looking through to see if he can find some records to get his cost too. I don't know if we're going to get up past the deductible on this and that, but we might as well turn it in. So,
How about the guy that hit us?
yeah, well, that's a claim we're making, I guess. So there's a sheriff's report and everything on this, so that's right. So that's what's going on with that. That's not something that's going to require immediate action, but certainly something we're going to fix when we get it sorted out.
Good.
That's all I have.
Fred? Catch up. Take your time. I have put in front of you, gentlemen, warrants for your signatures. Warrants 220 through 2059, totaling $409,030.35. I'm also giving you the
revenue report, fund status report, and appropriation status report as per usual. I have temporary appropriations coming up, so we need to appropriate for the first couple of months of next year. And I put together some worksheets on that, which I'll pass out, and kind of hoping that you'll have a chance between now and the next meeting to just take a glance at it and see if you have any suggestions. I just, baseline did 25% of annual appropriations for this year. Made a couple adjustments in the road department for overtime and other things. Still got to talk to Emmerich to make sure that we're going to cover all our bases as far as supplies. I think we should be fine going with 25% of the appropriations as far as what we're going to need to purchase for salt. And talking to him, we've already got a lot of the salt purchases done. But Jack, if you
No, we don't. We're going to do the whole contract.
okay?
Now, the contract will actually be completed by July. That's the end of the contract period. So we will, depending on the space available, do.
How many more tons? I know we're going to do.
We're going to do about, I think,
400?
400.
400. Right.
So say that takes us down to 18 that we could buy. We have, by contract, we could buy 22. But I would like to, if we can, we made it to the end of the bin, so there's no need to get to the end of the bin again this summer.
Right.
So, and we have a pretty attractive price on salt, very attractive price. So it would behoove us to go ahead and this year, instead of just dumping in the bin, stack in the bin, and stack the bin to 1,800 tons. Yeah. So my intent would be to buy the whole contract.
Okay. And
That'd be by July.
This will be just for the first
quarter. Well,
and then we'll hopefully, we'll get a little bit of a tighter number together.
We're going to have 1,000 tons. When we get to 4, we'll have about 1,000 tons. If I really knew how much we were going to put down, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be in a different business.
Sure.
I'm going to guess that, we didn't have that much snow, but we had a lot of events that required salt.
I think you guys saw a letter from Burnham and Flower asking about our vision insurance plan. Nobody's come to me to say that they want anything changed, so I'm assuming that that's going to remain the same.
I think no action needed if you wish to renew.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've all been satisfied with the current plan.
And we've got to set aside some money for Auburn Volunteer Fire Department on that line item. Talked to the chief today. We've got the money to set aside for capital purchases, and we can talk about this in a little bit more detail later, but the way it looks, we're going to have to possibly, and the chief said that they could work with us on this, maybe push back the contract payment.
Yeah.
So we can sign the contract and then not have the first payment due until a little bit later, so that we're not hit with that first payment right off the bat at the beginning of the year. That'll allow us to set aside some money for the capital purchases while we wait for the fire levy money to come in.
For the tax collection is what you're saying.
That's all I got.
Yeah, good. All right. Okay. contract with Hercules Tree Service. There's the contract available on that.
Stafford Road.
Yeah,
Right. And I
they
think
were definitely the lowest bidder. And
There's two originals.
We've been working with them. They've been very good so far. And is all the papers in now, Brett, on them?
We have their estimate, and
But is there insurance and everything? Workers' comp?
that I don't
Workers' comp?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, do we have all that?
we do.
Okay, I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Well, pending
I was
that,
out of town.
we need to go ahead and formalize the contract.
And Nancy and I discussed the contract today. She put this one together based on what the county engineers used. And Hercules had some additional terms on their estimate. So,
What were their terms that they asked for?
they basically limiting their liability.
Oh,
So language about we're not going to be responsible if we drive over somebody's lawn and make ruts in it or ruin the concrete
no.
in their sidewalk or
Well, maybe, we need to
So-
get these guys going, but
we've
that's not
got a
enough.
contract here that doesn't have any of that limiting
Right.
language in it.
I think we need to go ahead and I'd make a motion that we enter into a contract for our terms and conditions of the bid request.
And Bridie approved it right now.
Yes.
And that's what they bid to.
That's what they did too. And for sure, their work all is in the road right away. It isn't on private property. And so if they're on private property, that's an issue that they can take care of. They're going to have to take care of, right? So,
It'll be up to them if they want to go by our terms and conditions.
Well, they knew that when they bid.
Right. All right.
the clock is ticking now, so
So is that a motion, Jen?
that's my motion.
Second.
John,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. All right. And get the resolution for 2014-18. Okay, we have the resolution 2014-18, resolution of convenience and necessity for the chip seal of Franks Road. And whereas the Auburn Township Board of Trustees has determined that the public convenience welfare require improvement of Franks Road, TR 193, and to authorize the Geauga County Engineer to prepare engineering plans in accordance with Section 5573.01 of the Ohio Revised Code. Now therefore be it resolved by unanimous vote of the Auburn Township Board of Trustees that the public convenience welfare requires the improvement of Franks Road, TR 193, in the Township of Auburn, County of Geauga, State of Ohio, by the application of chip seal surfaces as necessary. Be further resolved that the Geauga County Engineer is hereby directed to make such surveys, plans, profiles, cross-sections, estimates, and specifications as are required for the improvement, and transmit copies of the same to the board. Be it further resolved that the cost and expenses of said improvement shall be apportioned as follows. The right-of-way cost, if any, and the construction for the cost for the project should be paid from the local funding sources. The engineering will be provided by the Geauga County Engineer at no cost to the township. Be it further resolved, the fiscal officer of Auburn Township Board of Trustees is hereby instructed to transmit certified copy of the resolution to the joint county engineer. And we need a vote on that.
Okay, that's motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second the motion.
John,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Yes.
And that estimate is $100,000 for the entire length of Franks Road.
Obviously that's our chip seal for this year.
Yeah. It's a long time since we did the resolution before the years.
Right now, I'm very appreciative of the engineers cranking it out.
Okay, we got the resolution for 2014-19. Again, 2014-19, resolution accepting the amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
John, yes, PJ,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and again, we'll be applying motion, well, it's a 2015 Christmas tree collection and recycling grant. Need a motion to apply for that again this year?
Oh, yeah, second that. Charter member to that.
Yeah.
What, first round?
John,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This is for new business, public comment. Sir.
Hi, my name is Craig Sarna, 19029 Ravenna Road. I'm here to make a plea to the trustees. I live in a dead zone in Auburn. We have no cable service, no DSL, and it affects myself along with some other residents. I have some maps showing different areas. I've been in contact over the years with, recently with Windstream. They won't come up far enough. They stop at Frostwood. They said they don't want to pay the tariffs or pull fees to come down. I've contacted AT&T Direct, the president's office. I asked them if they would waive it because they won't run DSL down there. We have to use air cards for everything. Suddenlink comes up in different areas but doesn't come down to our area. Time Warner stops at Crackle, Harner Road coming in from Manaway, and I think Windstream comes up Crackle and stops. Nobody wants to service our area. Going over the Suddenlink contract, I believe you guys get a residual for, if I read it right, from them being here. I don't know if we get anything from Time Warner or anybody else, but my suggestion would be use some of those residuals to service the areas that need service. My air card went out. I have to go up to my pizza shop and check my emails. People laugh at me because this is, we're a modern, rich town. I mean, we have a lot of features here, but I'm stuck. And it's been like this since I moved in. I've been fighting. I wrote letters to the president of Time Warner and asked them about running service into the area, and they said they have to come out of Aurora or they have to come out of Bainbridge. And one way was like 150,000 and the other was 125,000. But they only looked at it small picture that they were going to be picking up like 20 homes. They didn't look big picture. They're going to pass up 500 or 600 homes. And it was dumb on their part, so they just said, no, we can't do it. So I feel that I'm being...
Is there phone service there? Or?
Yeah, I have AT&T. They won't run DSL down. Windstream says they can do something, but they said they don't want to pay the fees. I'm trying to find out what pole fees are and the tariff. AT&T won't tell me. Windstream won't tell me. But I'm pretty persistent.
Just copy your information. I mean, we contact same people, from the township aspect of the board.
I did talk to Sudden Link a year ago maybe. I believe they come up Bartholomew, but I can't find the guy's number that I talked to. And when you call Sudden Link, they won't have anybody call you back from engineering.
Come up Bartholomew to the west.
But how far up do they go?
I was going to ask, is there anything in the old Simon or Frostwood?
Frostwood's getting Windstream.
Yeah.
But they won't go that little extra bit.
That's far.
Some stops at Mayport.
Where's the last?
I think they stop at Mayport.
I mean, I don't know if there's any other dead areas in Auburn, but I feel neglected out there.
South End of Shaw.
I've done a lot of homework on this thing. I've made phone calls and I'm a good researcher, but I just can't get anybody.
Well, it's something we've been battling with for quite a while, getting the same answers from them.
Well,
but it's good, attack it again. Contact them directly from us.
I mean, our community, we're a modern community, and I'm in the sticks out there. I'm like neglected. Auburn doesn't, the township doesn't really do a lot for my farm and my house because I'm on a state route. So all I want is DSL. I want to be like everybody else.
All right, we'll get to it, Craig. Location of Windstream. Obviously, they're the closest.
Yeah, they are the closest.
Who's the 500 or 600 houses, though, that you thought that they would?
All I'm saying is they have to pass up all these other houses, and if they came out of Bainbridge.
Yeah, but see, I don't think contractually they can hook up to any of those. If it's in like Windstreams, because they have a geographic area, and it goes back to the days that there was some language like when a new subdivision was created, they had to hook up to that. And that this goes back before my days.
But they've changed the laws on that too, where now you're allowed to actually if you look on 44, the telephone poles on the west side of the street, that is Windstream's territory, but somehow they're AT&T poles.
Because they predated Windstream.
Right. So they don't want to pay the tariffs or pole charges, which can't be that expensive.
We could try to find out.
But
what
if they
those
came up
charges
out of Bainbridge, if they had to pay tariffs or whatever to come into the territory, they're allowed to cross territories.
I might not be aware, but it was always the issue is that
that's how Windstream can service me on AT&T's side, because they're allowed to do that now.
Who's the outfit that's putting the power up on
Rapid Road?
Yeah.
that didn't work out. Their
They had
coverage
problems
won't
with
get
that.
down
He
there.
was here for a meeting one night. He came to
Right.
a meeting.
That's that Q band.
Q-band, you can't. You're too far away for that, right?
Right. I'll check that out.
And from what I've heard, the people that are still in the area of Q band are not getting
Not
service
very
from
happy,
them
right?
yet. So I don't know that that's working. But when Mr. Cerna, he had called me and we were talking about this, and I don't know if you remember a couple months ago I said, oh boy, I finally got a link. I got a connection from Suddenlink. Because you're right, they never call you back. You don't know who to call. And so I wrote to them to get a copy of our contract. And they sent me to their legal department. And their legal department sent me the contract. And then I wrote back to the legal department and I asked them if they would give me a coverage map for Auburn Township. And I have the gentleman's name in my office, but he called me back right away and wanted to know why I wanted a coverage map. And so I was explaining to him about the parts in our township that don't get service, and he says, well, I show right here that everybody in your township gets service. And I said, no. And we went through the whole thing that Nelson, what we service out of? Newton Falls. The Newton Falls office services us, and he says, why don't you just let me figure this out? I'm going to look into this and get back to you. And that was a while ago, and maybe I should have followed up on it, and I didn't. But I will this week. I'll call him back. But you think you have somebody on your side, but it just all, you put so much work into it, and then it just all falls through the cracks.
What I read in the contract was, I mean, they don't have to service everybody. I mean, it's their limiting part to let them out of anything, but
It had to be economically feasible, was
Right.
what they always
Yeah.
said to us. Right.
But if they're already coming up Bartholomew and they can add more people on, if it's Suddenlink, I'd like to get on board with that.
Is Suddenlink running broadband in the area?
Yes.
I don't know. We don't use
I'm not sure if they are.
I haven't.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you had it?
2 years.
Okay.
And they're right here at Auburn Corners because I think Auburn Inn has Suddenlink, and that's Windstream's territory too. So everybody's crossing around now.
I'm just north of there. I've got it up there. I may have one of their engineers' phone numbers if I can dig it up. He was telling me how they redid all the equipment up that way and made it better. And
Yeah, I had the engineer one time, and he said he was going to get back to me. He was coming up, he said, up Bartholomew, but he never did tell me where it stopped. And there was a possibility. I mean, my best bet is probably Windstream right now, if I can figure out the pole charges and that. But nobody wants to pay for anything.
Time Warner comes right up to the township line.
Yeah.
Do they really? Well, they've got subdivisions in Manaway at the north end. Yeah.
I asked him one time, I put him into a corner. I says, hey, how much to run it from Crackle Harner up to my house? And they said $2,500. And I says, okay, do it. And then he says, oh, no, we won't do it.
Why not?
They wouldn't. They just
tell you
says
why.
we're not going to do it. Not going to do it. I called their bluff and they backed down.
I'll ask Vic, but I think they had the same issue. They had to run it to that subdivision, the Manaway subdivision, and they do something right at the north.
And I asked them, there's only like 20 homes or something. If they came up a little further north.
But I've been over there to Suddenlink's predecessor, and they claim that they just can't make any money.
What was the predecessor?
They would
Star?
like to. Star
Was first.
They claim, this is what they keep saying, that this is just a losing process for them because the density is just not there. And the equipment is so expensive. That's their claim. And, he was, and this was the guy that owned the whole place. His saying, listen, I wish we could just walk out of the whole place, which they can't do. It's just, I personally beat that bush a lot, trying to, because, hey, there's still no cable where I came from. We never heard of cable. And
It was all Shaw Road down through Fox.
all that over there, right. And still isn't. And, yet they would go as far as the north part, because there was a high density of homes in Troy Oak.
Yeah.
And it's talking about some business contracts and this business of the AT&T, they're not. I think it's a cooperation thing. Oh, we don't want to cooperate because why wouldn't they?
Well, AT&T says
Just
it
do
has
a contract with them and say, look, we hear so much to use our lines.
AT&T says they're out of Burton, and it's too far. We're at the end of the line. It's like, you think it's 1,700 feet or 2,700 feet to the end of the DSL. And then they have to put a module in to go farther. And they said, we're at the end. So, you guys don't want to do anything down here? Open it up for somebody else. Just waive the fees. It's not, you're not going to come down here anyways. Don't hold me hostage. I mean, is it feasible that, you said Sudden Link would possibly want to get out of the contract? I mean, what about looking to see if somebody wants to come in?
Yeah.
And just, if they want to come in, I mean, just give somebody another opportunity. It might be somebody else. Maybe Time Warner might change their mind and say, hey, we can come in here, we can take over the rest of the town. There's more houses now since it was last put in.
So, who contractually owns the area that you're living in?
I'm on the AT&T side.
Okay, so that's AT&T on that side.
AT&T's east. You can go to the PUCO website, and it shows where everything's at. Like who has what half of what road.
Okay. So let's pull that off, Nancy, to find out, okay, who's got what areas and who we can negotiate with through
Yeah.
the other.
I didn't know that.
All right, Craig, we'll take a look at it for you.
Okay, thank
See
you.
what we can do. Any other public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn. And we'll be going, well, actually,
Come on. Yeah.
be going into executive session for the purpose of interviewing 2015 zoning board applicants. And we have no additional business will be conducted after the executive session.
Second.